Hey HIST 101 students, Professor Beneluk here with a series of 2 short videos explaining Unit 4 discussion board. Okay, so Unit 4 discussion board is very similar to Unit 2 discussion board. You are simply going to be building on what you did in Unit 2 discussion board. So Unit 4 discussion board, the original post is due Friday, December 11th by 11:59 p.m. Central Standard Time. This is broken up into 2 due dates, just like Unit 2 discussion board was. And your response posts are going to be due Tuesday, December 15th at 11:59 p.m. Central Standard Time. So very similar to Unit 2 discussion board. In this short video, I will be discussing the assignment in general. And then in the second short video, I will be going over the 4 topics that you can choose to delve into. Okay, so here you go. Here are the 4 topics that you can get into. Once again, you will be analyzing a primary document. Please remember, a primary document is a document that was written during an era of history that you are studying. So there are 4 primary documents that you can get into. The first is Ronald Reagan, and it's an article called Remarks on Signing the Economic Recovery Tax Act of 1981 and the Omnibus Budget Reconciliation Act of 1981. If you're interested in economics and specifically Reaganomics or Reagan's policy, you would enjoy this topic. Again, this is an interview with Reagan on the passage of the Economic Recovery Tax Act of 1981 and the Omnibus Budget Reconciliation Act of 1981. Okay, the second primary document is George H.W. Bush's speech, Iraqi aggression in Kuwait, that he gave before the United Nations General Assembly in October of 1990. So if you're interested in the first Gulf War, you might want to analyze that primary document. The third primary document is Ronald Reagan's Tear Down This Wall speech that he gave in June of 1987 at the Berlin Wall. The fall of the Berlin Wall, the end of the Cold War, if you're interested in that, then that will be the primary document you will want to analyze. Okay, and last but certainly not least, this primary document is actually a YouTube video on the 1987 stock market crash. So if the 1987 stock market crash is something that interests you, then that would be a good primary document to delve into. Okay, so those are the 4 topics you can choose from. Again, the second video, I will be going over the 4 topics. All right, so this original post, which will be due December 11th, is broken down into 4 sections this time, where your Unit 2 DB was only 3 sections. We're building on what you did in Unit 2 DB. Again, very similar to what you did in Unit 2. Okay, so the context section is worth 15 points, everybody. Just like Unit 2 DB, you need to name the document you chose to analyze, who's the creator of the document, briefly describe the creator of the document, and when and where the document was created. So that's context worth 15 points. Again, don't let this overwhelm you. Just take it section by section and you will be fine. The next section is summary with 20 points. Just like Unit 2 discussion board, in this section, you're going to summarize the main points made within the document you chose to analyze. Okay, the third section is called connections. How does the source connect to the Unit 4 learning material? How does it help you better understand that moment in American history? How does it help you to better understand Unit 4 in Telepath? Does this source support what you already knew about the topic? If so, how? Or does this source change the way you think about the topic? If so, how? Okay, again, very similar to Unit 2 DB. The last section is where we're building on what we did in Unit 2 DB. The issue today is worth 10 points. Identify how the issue in the document relates to American life today. You want to use specific examples to explain your points. So in other words, explain how this document is still relevant today in the year 2020. Okay, so that's what's due on Friday the 11th. What is due on Tuesday the 15th is your peer responses. You have to respond to 2 of your classmates just like you did in Unit 2 discussion board. And again, you need to tailor your post to your classmates' post. I've always said, I love my students. You all are very supportive of one another, but don't leave it at, great job, Joshua. You answered all the questions that were asked within this assignment. I can't wait to read more of your work. Well, that's incredibly supportive. You need to do more. You need to tailor your post, your classmates' post, and you need to answer the following 4 questions. What did you learn from your classmates' post? Are there any connections between their document, the unit materials that they did not mention? I like that question. Are there any connections between what you learned from your source and what you learned about their source? And what clarification do you need regarding the post? The one twist with the peer response this time is each of your response posts must be at least 100 words in length. Don't get intimidated by that, because if you tailor your post to your classmates' post and you answer the 4 questions, you will have no problem making that 100 word requirement. Okay, so all sources used to complete this project should be cited using APA format, both in-text citations and references. Remember, you want to avoid plagiarism. So you want to paraphrase or put the materials in your words and then use in-text citations. And you want to provide a reference section to support that. Okay, provide support. Definitely revisit our discussion on plagiarism, please, for that. And please use the C2 Undergraduate Writing Style Guide. One of my first announcements in the class is how to access it. It's wonderful. And also, the Writing Center is wonderful. One of my first announcements is how to access the Writing Center. They will help you with APA if you need APA help. It's extremely helpful, the Writing Center. But anyway, okay. So the Unit 4 grading criteria, I apologize for this being so tiny, but it's the only way I can get it on the slide. This is what I will be using to grade your Unit 4 discussion board. So the context, student identified the creator, including a brief description. Student identified when and where the document was created. My comments, how many points out of 15? Summary, student fully summarized the document, identifying the main topic, the main points, and at least one interesting detail. My comments, how many points out of 20? Connections. Student identified connection between the primary source and the unit learning materials. In other words, how did reading this document help you better understand Unit 4 learning materials and Unit 4 in Telepath? Student included a discussion of how the source expanded or changed their previous knowledge. My comments, how many points out of 10? Okay, next. The issue today. Student identifies how the issue in the document relates to American life today. Student evaluates the ways in which the issue has evolved. Student uses specific examples to explain their points. So in other words, how is this document still relevant to us today? And my comments, how many points out of 10? Peer response. Student responded to at least 2 of his or her peers. You respond to your classmates by the deadline, and each response is 100 words each. You're going to get your 10 points. Response content. Peer response adds new depth or insight to the current conversation and encourages further conversation. I feel encourages further conversation is pretty key. My comments, how many points out of 5? Academic writing. Student uses proper spelling, punctuation, and grammar to write clearly and effectively. References, if provided, are in APA format. My comments, how many points out of 5? I tallied up and put it over 75. So your original post is going to be due December 11th by 59 p.m. Central Standard Time. And your response posts are going to be due Tuesday, December 15th by 59 p.m. Central Standard Time. You know you can always reach me at my email address, lbenelux@coloradotech.edu, or you can message me through the CTU app, the messenger portion of our app. And always a good time to reach me is my office hours, which are held Mondays between 6:30 and 7:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. Okay, this will be it for this short video. Have a good one. Choose which topic interests you the most and go for it. They all have plenty of research materials. So have a good one, and I will see you for video number 2.